If you are a sensitive mother and you're going through separation or just thinking about it, this conversation is for you. You may be thinking, I will be everything that my children need. I know that really well because I made that decision myself. I really wanted to be a great mom, whatever that means. Their father wasn't present, my family wasn't all that supportive. So I stepped in and I thought I will fill every gap. I gave them my time, my love, my energy, my attention, and I worried a lot. I moved countries. I was trying to work harder to create a better future for us, and also to create experiences that will bring us together. And I did all of that. And my biggest motivation was that I wanted them to feel safe. I wanted them to feel supported, and I wanted them to feel loved. But the honest truth is that even though I don't regret everything I did, the love, the intention, that all came from who I am. And it was a beautiful desire to bring security and prosperity to them when other things were not really all that supportive. But at some point, I had to be honest with myself too, because I wasn't just loving them, I was also overgiving to them. And that breaks the balance in relationships. Even if we think that we're doing all things right, there has to be a good balance and a good relationship. There has to be a good balance in all relationships. And when you overgive, you're creating imbalance. I wasn't aware of that. But what I was aware of is that sometimes I could see that I was building resentment around certain things that, of course, I felt like it was too much for one person to carry. It was too much. And so I will get a little bit more impatient with them, or a little bit more demanding, and that was the way my nervous system was telling me, you are overstretching yourself and something has to change. It was too much for one person to carry. I was constantly looking for what could go wrong, and of course our mind has 1,000 different ideas about that. And so I realized that I was not allowed to relax and stop thinking, because I was really trying to go faster than fate, I guess, and prevent anything wrong happening to us. I dealt with a lot of anxiety. I was stressed, and without realizing, I have given myself the role of the rescuer, the one that holds everything together, the one who makes sure that they will never feel the lack, no matter what. But here's what I didn't see back then. When we try to be everything for our children, we don't empower them really. We make them more dependent. And we slowly abandon ourselves, because all we can see is our role as a mother, not as a person, as a woman, and that takes a toll. So over time, this type of relationship where there is a mother that overgives creates two things. One is that they rely on you more than maybe they need to, and our job as parents is to set them free, to give them enough love and enough, I guess, practice within the family environment, so that they feel confident enough to fly away the nest and do their own thing. That's really our job. But if we overgive, then we delay that because they rely on us more than they need to. And we, of course, choose a role that doesn't allow for any freedom for ourselves. And I don't mean just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. So from the outside, my life looked full. I made really bold decisions. Like I said, I moved countries. I was trying to be the provider of a better future, financial situation, also provider of experiences. We did a lot of traveling. So it was fun, but it was also very demanding on myself because I was the one holding everything together. So I was exhausted. I was really exhausted, and I got to the point where my body said, you need to stop. My vulnerable self, my inner child, was overstretched, was worried. A lot of the time I will wake up in the middle of the night worrying about, what I should have said, what I should have done, what I need to do, what I need to say in order to prevent things from, I guess, being irreversibly wrong. And that overstretching, that worrying, and also the guilt and the responsibility, when I felt like I wanted to break free from that, did take a toll on my nervous system. And I tried to do things differently from that point on. I realized I was really exhausting myself. I realized that I was longing for more freedom, more time for myself to express myself fully. I just didn't know how to do it. But slowly I learned that being a great mother doesn't mean sacrificing yourself forever until your children don't need you anymore. It doesn't mean abandoning what makes you feel alive in the present moment. And it doesn't mean postponing your life indefinitely. And yes, I know, it takes time. Things don't change overnight, especially as a single mother, It's more, it takes reasons and seasons to see the change. You have to know why, and you have to be focused on how you're going to approach your life in a way that's going to give you more and more freedom. But the moment you choose that, the moment you see that, then you start taking steps. And so what I learned is that it wasn't so much about effort, but it was more about me being more whole as a person and more fulfilled, and a human being, a woman and a mother who chooses her life consciously and not out of fear of the future or out of over responsibility. So the change, like I said, didn't happen overnight, but life transitions like this don't even start if you don't make a conscious decision to start building towards that. And things change when you start asking yourself things like, where am I still overgiving and why? Where am I not choosing myself and why? And when you see clearly that this is also a way of disempowering your children, then you need to ask yourself if you can choose differently and what that's going to look like. And when you do that, when you're honest with yourself and you ask yourself those questions and you really create some answers, because I don't know is really not an answer. When you're patient enough to keep at it and keep seeking the truth, then you get some answers. And that's when slowly but surely things start to shift, because your reasons change. your thoughts, your beliefs change. And that's when your life starts opening in new ways. So you don't have to be everything for your children. You just have to be willing to meet them in the present moment with whatever it is that they need from you. So basically just meet life as it comes, being present, being honest, being caring, and also fully expressed, as a human being, and actively trying to make choices that are healthy, not just for them, but for your own self, so that you can show up in a more balanced way. And when you do all those things actively, not perfectly, but in a consistent kind of way, they realize that. And that is what really teaches them how to live their life to the best of their possibilities, how to approach it not from perfection, but from clarity, from responsibility for their own selves, instead of waiting for other people that will help them, fix them, rescue them. That's not our job as parents. Our job as parents is to set them free in empowering ways. And so this video is about that. It's about the fact that when we overgive, we are not really preparing them for life. That was a turning point for me when I was more aware of it. And also because I realized that my life, when was lived to the fullest, was the perfect model, the perfect teacher, the perfect example of what's possible for them also. And it's definitely more fulfilling for myself to approach it in that way, as opposed to over worrying, over giving, and the anxiety that I was mentioning about. We all deserve more. Mothers deserve more. Women, sensitive women who care deeply, deserve more. And when you choose to believe that and open yourself to the future with curiosity instead of fear, with generosity, not just for others but for your own self, you began to show your own children that they can enjoy their lives too, no matter the circumstances, because they are always in choice of whatever they are going to make those circumstances mean, whatever they're going to do about it. And this is not about perfection, and it's not about avoidance. It's about how we manage the everyday situations and how we model that for them. So if this conversation was resonating with you at a deeper level, I invite you to download the Sovereign Sensitive Reset. Is a meditation, a 15 minutes meditation with original music, and it's going to ask you a few questions that are going to set you on the right track for a deeper thought and taking that precious time for yourself, so that you can take yourself to a more self-aware state of what it is that you need and how you may be struggling without even realizing it. And when we become aware, that's when we have the choice to make a different decision one day at a time. Thank you for being here.